Okay, so this panel is about how we as authors should connect to our readers. Now, I have my own thoughts about this. I'd like to know yours, but I also did some research. I actually spoke to some readers and put that question to them to actually get from the horse's mouth, so to speak, of what they expect from us, what they expect us to give to them as a reader. So why don't we'll start off, Anita, what do you, how would you connect to your reader? How do you do that?
I like to connect to the reader, by just giving them characters that are real, like people, situations that, of course they're in fantasy and horror and stuff, but that they can connect to, just normal everyday people that get into bad situations. I think everybody can connect to that.
Yeah, definitely. Angela?
I wing it. I really don't know what I'm doing. I do a lot of putting myself in the reader's shoes, where I go, okay, well, this is what I like, this is what I want, and this is what I enjoy. So I don't know, there's the, when I build up my website, when I do the blogging, and then there's when I do the writing. And when I do the writing, I write, and whatever comes to me, comes to me. And I do what I want to do when it comes to the writing. But when I build the website, when I blog, when I write newsletters, and when I do the marketing, that's when I think a lot about putting myself in their place. What do I enjoy as a reader? And I do a lot of, what I enjoy from a reader's point of view. And then I think about the situations where I am a reader, and that would be whenever I go to a website for a few of my favorite authors. What am I looking for? What stops me in my tracks? And then I duplicate that, if it works, on my end of it as the author. And if it doesn't work, like, it's funny because there are certain things I do not enjoy. I do not actually enjoy reading excerpts. But I do love reading blurbs and the opening few lines. So on my website, I'll replicate that aspect of it as opposed to providing excerpts as much.
Why don't you like excerpts?
I was going to say, now as a reader, I'm the opposite. I like excerpts as long as they're not really long excerpts.
Yeah.
Because it gives me a taste of the book.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, there's my OCD where I don't like starting in the middle of a story. I love reading the first chapter, maybe the first few pages, but you throw me an excerpt from the middle of the book and I'm like, nope, I have no guarantee that's not spoilers. And then if I do decide to read the book, I do this every single time. Romance is notorious for this, where they'll give you the excerpt at the middle of the book. I will spend the entire book just looking for that excerpt. Is this it? Is this? And I won't actually read the book or enjoy it because I'm always thinking about where that excerpt is from the beginning that they've. So it's just. Yeah, a weird pet peeve that I've got. Now, I do post my own excerpts because I do know there are authors out there who are readers who do like them, but readers are quiet. They are really a silent audience. So there's a lot of guesswork involved.
What do you mean they don't tell you what they want?
They don't tell you anything. They're just quiet. And on occasion, you get evidence that they're there. They're lurkers. They're lurkers. And on a very rare occasion, you'll get evidence that they are there, aside from stat numbers and book sales. And it's like, oh, there are people there. So I like those. So
basically, we have to put ourselves in the reader's shoes, because readers, like you say, they're quiet. They won't tell us what they expect. They won't tell us what they want. So we have to put ourselves. I used to read a lot, so I have a long time. I've lost the love of reading. I hate to admit that, and it's been like that for many years now. But when I was reading, I wanted a book to escape. I wanted to escape the reality that I was living, whether it was in a horror, in a fantasy, or a thriller or anything. Just getting away from my life and putting myself into the story as one of the characters, feeling what they're feeling, the emotions, going through what they went through. It just allows you to just leave your life just for while you have that book open, and of course when the book closes, you're back to reality with a big bump.
If I can go back for a minute to what you said about readers not talking, I think the thing is, it's not the readers aren't talking; they're just not talking to authors, because they talk to each other.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah,
so
because
true.
I mean, if you go into like Goodreads and they've got reader clubs and book clubs and things, and they're talking to each other all over the place in there.
And
I just
do you have an experience if you were to go into one of those groups? Do they acknowledge you? Do they run away? What's your perception on them?
Well, I don't. Well, I do belong to some of them, some who do book readings and stuff, but I never tell really that I'm an author or anything like that. I just go in as a reader.
Mm-hmm.
And
Do you think they're scared of us? Do you think they're intimidated?
it might be. It's like, okay, they don't want to maybe talk about the book to the author because maybe they're afraid of insulting us or something. I don't know.
Now that's interesting because I don't do author signings, and we have them in our area where you'll be in Wegmans, the local grocery store, and there will be an author sitting there for a book signing. And I remember seeing this one particular author. He is a local celebrity, and I'm just like, what would I say to you? Like, I have nothing to say to you. Now, that's the other thing that we brought up that I'm curious about. Regarding the connecting to your readings through your I'm going to say this, I'm sorry. Connecting with readers through what you write, through the kind of stories, the genre perhaps. Do either of you feel that you connect better through the writing than you do perhaps another form?
Yes.
Sorry. Go ahead, Anita.
I was going to say, yes, I connect through the writing. I mean, because I mean, you know, like if you write something and people like it, you know, I'm glad of that, and I like that. And then, but then it's like, okay, I'm glad you like it. Now what do I do? You know, what do I say? That part always kind of baffles me, connecting with people like that. But because I mean, I like to just put my writing out and let people read it, and watch it, how people react to it. That's what I like. I mean, responding to the reactions I have a problem with, because I never know what to say.
Now it actually does bring up what she was saying about Rowling, and with what I was saying about, I saw this guy, this author, and I'm like, I don't have anything to say to you. Do you want to only speak to authors if you have something negative to say about them? And the reason why I asked this is because I was
the negative things I have less problem with the negative things than I do the positive.
But if I have something positive to say as a reader, I don't want to talk to the author. Now, I want to talk to Patrick Rothfuss, but I also have a lot of bad things to say about his books, like WTF. But this one, I met somebody at I was at the grocery store, and different grocery store, and she stopped me. It was a coworker of my husband's, but she'd read my books. And it was like my first, I read your books. And it was really wonderful. It gave me goody. But she did tell me she didn't like them because they were really dark for her. And, you know, I don't care. That's fine. But I got the impression that she felt obligated to bring it up. And because as soon as she saw me, she launched right into it. And then she talked about what she did like, but it almost felt like she was like, I have to talk about what I didn't like. Like, I'm sorry, I don't like the books. They're just way too gory, dark for me. And, you know, I was like, that's absolutely fine, you know. And then, you know, we went on our way. But it leads me back to our readers in a position where they primarily only want to talk to an author if they have something negative to say about the books.
I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to talk to an author, period, whether it's good or bad. Maybe they want to keep their... They want to... Yeah, maybe we are intimidating. I think they want to keep their opinions to themselves or share it with Goodreads and other readers, as you said, Anita, but they don't want to tell the author what they really think, whether it's positive or negative.
Well, I mean, I have a much better I'm having much more comfortable with the negative comments. Because, I mean, if someone tells me something they didn't like, or, you know, why did you do this? I mean, I can get into a discussion about that,
Mhm.
you know? And because, I mean, I like to know people's dissenting opinions, or people when they say something that, like, especially with my poetry, they'll tell me that, oh, it reminded me of this, and this is what I thought, right? And it's like, okay, that's an interesting point of view, because, I mean, it's not what I wrote from. It's not the point where I wrote from, because, I mean, so many things, especially with the poetry, is like, I write from one point of view, and I write it, and I send it out. And then someone will read the poem, and they'll say, oh, this reminded me of something like this. Like one time I wrote a poem, it was some kind of a dark poem about frost and death and icy stuff. And you had to read the poem. Anyway, and someone told me, you know, was it about the Arctic and permafrost and everything? It had nothing to do with that whatsoever. But it was an interesting point of view, I thought.
Yeah, I think a lot of readers can get something from the book that you weren't expecting them to get. And that's good, but it is, again, getting them to actually open up and tell us what they've... It's I had this review from an author, but she was also a blogger, and she read my book, Illusional Reality, and she gave it 3 stars. And I was like, why did you give it 3 stars? And she was questioning all these different things. And then I had a live interview with her. So I was ready. I was like, yeah, give it to me. Come on. Tell me exactly what you think of my book. And I've actually got it recorded on my YouTube channel. And if you actually watch it, you can see everything that she doesn't understand, I explain. What does the cover mean? She didn't understand the cover. I explained. And all through the interview, it was, oh, right, yes, I get it now. Oh, no, I didn't understand it like that. You know, but then again, we're authors and we shouldn't have to explain. I feel that if we have to explain what we're trying to get across, then we haven't done our job right.
Yeah.
No, that I agree with. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not everyone's going to get it, though. That's the one thing. You know, not every reader who's going to read your book is going to get it. And that's fine, right? Because, I mean, you do your best and you put it out there, but not everyone's going to like it. Not everyone's going to get it. And that's just part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that anyway, but but that's just it, the way it is, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't please everyone. Everyone has different tastes, you know.
Yeah.
Someone, I had another one.
Go ahead.
I had another author that read my book and gave it a 3 or 2 star, I can't remember. But all she said in the review was, I got it by mistake. It's not my cup of tea. What am I supposed to do with that? I mean,
yeah,
my favorite review.
Strange reviews.
I love criticism. Give me more criticism.
My favorite review, I got a 1, and it was best review ever. Hated this book, hated the ending. I hate fantasy. Why did I read it? I couldn't put it down.
Bingo! Job done.
It's a 1. And it's my favorite review. It's not a 5, it's a 1. And I'm like, that's right.
That's it. That's why we do what we do.
Yes. Even the people who hate it can't put it down.
Yeah. They hate the genre, they hated the book, they hated everything I did, and they couldn't stop reading. That's right. Yeah, my favorite review. Yeah, I really wanted to, it was the one time I really wanted to comment and say thank you. And so, yeah, seriously, the best review I ever got. A 1.